Hello and welcome to Who Does Wars TV. I'm Lois My B. Here we are again for stuff. Some pluggy bits. Let's do some news, board game news, really quick out the gate. Bruno Faidutti, I believe that's his designer, great designer. He designed Mission Red Planet. There are a whole load of stuff. Done lots of stuff. He has obviously been hitting the wine quite heavily the other day. Hit Twitter. And Twitter hit back. Bruno, what did you have to say for yourself?
Hello, my British charms. It's Bruno here. Business advice. Never deal with people who don't drink. They always have something to hide. Why are all my business partners messaging me?
So he did that and shit happened. And then he doubled down with more.
Drunkenness can generate frustration or lead to mystical drunkenness, which is the most dangerous kind.
So then, fully mystically drunk as he was, he then put a blog post out the other day as well, quadrupling down at this point. It's just generally so drinking and Twitter definitely is a bad idea. Okay, it's a bad idea. Although it might be a good idea to find out maybe stuff. But anyway, don't do that. Because it makes you look stupid. Board game trading in chat. Throw some bunting up. I haven't got any. Hurrah! Well done. They hit 20,000 members. If you're not a group member of that, it's considering the size of it. There's relatively few nonsense moments that the internet is rather proud of regularly. It's generally worth sticking your head in. You get games, you trade stuff, and people chat. And we see more of some people than we should do. But that happens. That's on there, so you can look at that. Other news, they've just announced the launch of War Room 2nd edition, which makes me laugh a little bit. Well, I kind of smile to myself. War Room is a massive, big, giant sort of Axis and Allies, but with testosterone and stuff and things. So there's a 2nd edition of that, which, as I chuckle with, because Ben has been sat on, quite literally, possibly. His 1st edition War Room, that the group at CabinCon is a semi-yearly private sort of game convention to play it. And they've actually brought a 2nd edition out before they've actually played the 1st edition. So we unboxed it, though, as you possibly would have seen in the video I was playing maybe around here, just as something to do. So anyway, that The Witcher: The Old World has launched just the last day or so. It's like a sprawling narrative-y sort of shooty, sort of adventure RPG type thing board game, up to 5 players apparently. The first Witcher game by Ignacy came out from FFG, was alright. Was alright. This looks maybe refine that a bit more Witchery. I don't know yet. There's basically a buy in about $70 will buy you in the base game without minis, but there's another $50 on top to get some minis, monster minis. But I don't know. I've kind of tagged it. Need to look at it, and maybe I don't know. It's company have not announced Army of the Dead, the board game, a zombie-like version of Army of the Dead, the new Zack Snyder movie that came out Friday. It's not great. It has moments, but it's not great. The board game, it could be quite a good zombie-side game because there's a whole heist element and a bit of story to it. So, I use that term loosely. So, actually, as a one-off, maybe like they did for Night of the Living Dead, maybe a one-off just like refined and tweaked rules, different flavour version of Zombicide, the heist and zombies and smart zombies, could be kind of cool. Could be. I hold judgment at this point in time whether they just cash in with standard Zombicide stuff. Now, I've cried off a lot of Cool Mini or not because I'm not a massive fan of how they go about stuff. So we'll see, because my old version of Zombicide is old and it's a bit clunky. I could probably just piece it together from the 2nd edition rules about how to look, maybe. Anyway, let's look at what I played.
What's Mike played? I really want to know what Mike's played. What you played, Mike? Oh, and you other guys.
Played some games! We played some fucking games! Games played. So I played some fucking games. That's gonna fuck with the zoom and the camera. Games were played. Amazing. Games were played. I played games after forever. Fucking losing my mind. games. Sunday, we played some games. We started the evening with a game of Dune Imperium, okay, which is one that's been on my list for a while to play. Picked it up, I think, when it first came out, just before lockdown, and we locked down, and it sat for feels like 8 months. I don't think it's that long, but it feels that way. I played a couple of trial runs at the solo version of that. I've not completed those games, but I got a feel for it. And the solo mode is very good, from what I can see of it. It seems very cool. However, just playing the solo mode and looking what it had, it was clearly going to kind of shine at a bigger player count, because it involves this conflict mechanisms in there. There's the deck card and play and worker placement, all that sort of stuff. 4 players at it was clearly going to be a good way to go. So we did. 4-player game of Dune Imperium. First time for the other 3 guys. As I say, I played a little bit of it. I don't think it would be a massive advantage, really, to be honest, because it's been a while since I've done that. So, in a nutshell, it is based on the Dune Imperium, or Dune movie, the new one coming, which at some point this year. But based on the Hobbit books, on the planet Arrakis, you are different families and factions fighting in this game to score 10 victory points, or when all the battles that are going to take place, and I think there's 10 of them, have run their course, then the game ends, and whoever scored the most points will win. You are doing a spot of deck building. So standard deck building stuff, cards there. You start with a 10 card deck in your hand, and you can buy cards as you go through the game, and some of them are quite powerful, give you different abilities, as deck builders do. But the cool thing is you play cards to either place meeples to then get the actions on those meeples, or you hold off your cards to a reveal stage where you just play them out to get the bonus stuff at the bottom, which is mainly to be buying more cards, really. So that's, in a nutshell, how it works. Very nutshell. You play a rounds of technically playing your worker placement, and then you have this reveal phase when you cash in your cards, buy some more cards. Standard stuff. However, there's also, at the end of all that round, there's a battle round. At the start of every round, it shows you a card which will show you and tell you what you're fighting over. There's 3 places you can sort of gain in. Ties will force you to lose those top tiers and drop down. And some of these are really powerful. They're either victory points, or they're allowing you to sort of mark areas on the map to give you more resources, or just give you more resources. So you could send troops into your garrison or into this battle throughout the games. And it's kind of what I thought was very cool when we were playing this. And as the game evolved and played some more, I kind of got a feel for it. Was the battles are kind of cool. I like that there's this bit of player interaction, and it comes to strategy at a point, actually, and when to load your troops into your garrison and when to commit them to fights, because whilst that fight's kind of cool, maybe holding more troops in your garrison for a later fight. If you know I've played it, I know that the last few rounds are going to be very points heavy, so kind of building an army up almost at early doors and kind of using them to win good fights or easy fights seems a kind of cool idea. Really like what we did. I won the game, actually, at the end. It was tight. I won it by like a victory point over Tony, but you've got lots of stuff. There's kind of a bit of area control. There's this engine building, there's deck building, there's this fight mechanism, this fight moment in the end of the game, player abilities. There's lots of stuff happening. It's a real heady, cool mix. It's got these intrigue cards which work as we'd expect in all sort of Dune games. A lot of backstabbing, a lot of sort of pull something out of your ass. Whoa, there's a secret bomb attack and stuff. But there's cool stuff in there. It's kind of thematic. Having known Dune anyway, it is thematic in those realms. Not as thematic, maybe, say, as the Dune board game, which is very thematically tied into the book. But this, yeah, it works very well, and it looks quite cool. There's no photos, all kind of drawn art from the movie. I think the general consensus, everyone enjoyed it. I definitely thought that was cool to play it again. Tony, as per usual, went down the rabbit hole in any deck building game or any engine building game where he just keeps continually pulling cards. And he did this at such a point in time. There was one point during the game where he didn't even know how to discard a card and what his discard pile was. I give you exhibit A.
I think.
You sure?
No idea.
So, yeah, that happened. Jamie, I didn't know Jamie was engaged a lot because he had this kind of sulky face on, but he did say he quite liked what we saw of it at the end. So anyway, I really like it. I really think it's really cool. It plays wonderfully at 4. I think it's a solo. It's kind of cool. There is an update to the app that came out, which I can't remember what it's called, but essentially adds another round, gives you small targets and stuff and extra bonus stuff during the game, every round on there. It's kind of a cool little app addition. So I might play next item with that. It just seemed a bit overkill to have that. There's also another 4 characters that we can play as, which have got more advanced abilities, doing a bit more stuff. So there's also that to crack into. So there's a lot of replayability in there. We haven't seen half the cards in it. And I don't even think I'm close to really a strategy at this point in time. But I like all of what that does. And it's very cool. If any of that's of interest to you, that's Dune Imperium. I believe it's now more readily available. It was sold out one period of time, but I think the second print has hit. The Direwolf, who did Clank, highly recommended to me already from that one proper player that I want to play more of this. I do like that. Very cool. Then we had a crack at Mandala Stones, which I already mentioned this briefly, that I played with the missus. This is an abstract game of you. Essentially, there's lots of stacks of 4 tiles all over the place. And you're pulling these black pillars up to then select tiles that match the pillar's top iconography, put them on your game mat, and you can score those by colours in our stacks or whatever. They've got all different scoring abilities at any point during the game. So your either turns or options are either to pick something up or to score something. Having played a 2-player game, that was kind of quite cash, and it kind of played with the missus. It wasn't too brutal, wasn't too cutthroat, but it wrapped up very fast because we were kind of just doing our own little thing. Suddenly, playing 4-player was a whole different ballpark. Especially with my lot, it became quite brutal. The placement were blocking each other off, which is something we weren't really doing when I was playing with the missus. I was doing appalling actually early doors, and I couldn't. And with the scoring, people were taking advantage of score early to rack up through the thing. It went a bit longer than I thought it was going to do. Having said it was still fairly brief, but it was a totally different game to what I played with 2-player. So I need to play this some more to see how it plays with different groups and how it does. It's kind of cool. I really enjoy my 2-player play of it. Last night's game of it was fun to a point. It wasn't as enjoyable, but I think that's more the fact that I was doing appallingly and hadn't got my head switched around to the horrible blocky shit that we were doing to each other. So yeah, Mandala Stones, I'm pretty certain it's pretty good. Very Zoolish. I like all what it's doing. I need to play more of it, really, to make a solid opinion on that. But yes, it looks aesthetically very nice. It's kind of cool. Definitely for a 2-player game, I think it's really great. Already, I can say that. 4-player, jury's out on that at the moment, but I think it's going to be cool. Last thing we played just round up the evening was Cheating Moth, which I picked up from Amazon for like £2. Because it's the German version rather than the English version, which is about £15 or £10. There's English instructions in here. It's just a stupid game by the guys who did Crack-a-Lack in Poker. This one is you are essentially playing cards down in numeric order, but one person's a watcher. They're essentially watching everyone else to make sure they're not cheating, and they have to play correctly. But there's cheating moth cards in here that only the person who's the guard can actually discard into the main pile of cards. Everyone else has to find another way to get rid of them because you can't play them out, which involves hiding cards, throwing them away, distracting the person so you can eat the card. Anything. It's very small, very light, for a couple of quid. Absolute steal. We had a chuckle, more than one chuckle at it. It is stupid. I don't think it's as good as Crack-a-Lack and Cockroach Poker, but it's a close second. And these guys, I need to pick up some more of their stuff because it's really just fun, simple little games, and these are great. Look at the size of that. You can put it in a backpack, take it anywhere. It's a deck of cards. You can take it out of the box and just... Anyway, yeah, really cool. Cheating Moth, brilliant. Have a look on Amazon for Mogul Mottle, or just do Cheating Moth and then find the EU version. You can grab yourself a copy of that. Most recently for a couple of quid. It may have fluctuated with the algorithms, but for a couple of quid, it's an absolute steal. You're doing yourself proud. So that's all the stuff we played. Let's unbox some stuff. So I got this care package from Portal Games last week, and I don't have time. So we're going to have a quick look at some of the stuff that's in here. So there's 51st State, which is Moloch, which is a kind of like an AI deck for 51st State. 51st State is a deck builder. We've said it's kind of Imperial Settlers 2.0 with a post-apocalyptic sheen. It's a really nice sort of engine building. I say deck, but it's not really about it. It's an engine building game. You're playing cards out on the tableau to create like an engine. You generate resources to buy more cards to kind of do that. But there's a bit of deck building elements in there. Anyway, it's a good game. I like it. It's the two Imperial Settlers and 51st State. I think 51st State is actually the better of the two. It's just polished those mechanisms a bit better. It's a little bit less clunky, a little bit speedier. And then really, I think I'm steering towards is that Empires of the North, which is this expansion for, is probably the offshoot, the streamlined version of Imperial Settlers even further. Anyway, Moloch. So in here, let's have a look, see what we do get in here. I can get into there. I can't even get. Where's the bloody box? Oh, there. Okay, this is where you should probably open stuff up in advance. Talk amongst yourselves, people. I'm being outwitted by a cardboard box at the moment. Should have done that before. Anyway, that's cut. Anyway, Moloch. That's well, yes. In here we get some instructions. You get a little bit of flavor text here, background, playing with this state pack, new components, all the new stuff that's in there. So it gives you a nutshell of that and how it alters that setup and what happens there. So it's kind of like set rules for that. And then it looks like we've got some more stuff. Yes, and then there's just a bit more explanation, I think, on all the cards and stuff. So that's in there. There's them, and then we've got a deck of cards. There's no new tokens in there, so it just plays with that. Should I go for that? I mean, I quite liked 50s Estates art and aesthetics. It's quite nice. And you know what? I haven't got out here. I haven't got the scalpel with me, so I'm not going to be able to get through that. There's a deck of cards. There's stuff in there for Moloch. I'm going to give it a pop because I quite like 50th Estate, and I've got all the other expansions. I think there's 3 in total now. But that's a nice little addition to that. I'd be interested to see what that does. Next up, we'll do Empires of the North. That's going to be next up. We'll have a look at this now. For I have to come clean on this. Is I don't own Empires of the North at the moment. I have played it at an expo a couple of years ago with Ignazi before it came out. It was like a pre-run. Me and Jeremy played it. Really enjoyed it, actually. It was successful sort of dilution of Imperial Settlers into a much more sort of easy to get playing and grok game. So it's one, and I've seen it's reasonable. I'm going to think I wait to Expo, and I'll see if I can pick it up at Expo at a reasonable price. And then we'll dive into that as like a review. But let's have a look at what's in here at the moment, because we'll keep all of this, because I can't actually do a review of this. So we get a deck for the Egyptian kings. We get some tokens for them, which are kind of cool. They've got the Egyptian boats. And we get the rules for how they work. That's kind of in there. It's kind of a nice little thing. They did similar sort of stuff. Oh, there's something else in there. And a token and a sticker to go on it. Excellent. So there's everything to get the Egyptians into your game. As I say, I quite enjoyed what I saw in Empires of the North. So it is one that I will be looking at. As I say, Expo will come round and I'll see if I can pick up a copy of it at Expo, and then I'll have a proper play of it. I've got kind of a backlog of stuff at the moment, so we'll worry about that later. There you go. Anyway, Egyptians. Next up is Vienna Connection, which is a detective modern crime board game. I thought originally it was going to be an expansion. It is not. It's a standalone game set in the Cold War during the 1970s, which is kind of cool. So let's have a look what's in here. But I love detective, the system, and this is what this uses, is the detective system. It's just kind of cool. You really get that feeling and that vibe that you're in that CSI type game. I thought it was really cracking. I thought it was really good. So what we get in here is a rulebook, which mine's got folded in because it somehow ended up packed inside of the box. But we'll leave that. It's quite nice. Now, kudos to Ignacy and the guys. It's very light. It's only 6-page rulebook, or 8-page rulebook. Is their rules have got much better. Fair dues to them because they've had some rough efforts. But yeah, their rules have got much better. So hopefully that. I mean, I know the detective games, so I imagine that's going to be relatively straightforward. Then we get some envelopes. Lots of them. Mission 1, Mission 2, Mission 3 has been a bit squashed. Oh dear. Mission 4. Lots of them. We've got a top secret dossier that's sealed. There's a heavy dossier. There's some cool stuff in there then. We've got a deck of cards, Vienna Connection cards. I won't look at them too much. But they're obviously going to be something to do with the main mission. We've got, there's a sheet. There's sheets. There's some sort of sheets there that do stuff. And there is some wooden meeply bits, which a little bit different to what we're the only one, but I guess they do similar stuff. I'm not going to lift this up because I wonder. I know what it's like. There may be something snuck underneath there. I'm not going to look. So there's that. That's a very thick thing. I don't know what that is to do. I'm not going to look into that because it says top secret. It says, in fact, date of issue. Ooh, authorization required. So I'm not going to look in there because there could well be some delicate spoilers for people who are going to play this game. I think this went officially on Antares, the database that fits in with this the last couple of days. I kind of like the aesthetic of this so far. It kind of feels like a 1970s thing. I like that legacy-ish of stuff concealed away. That's got me a little bit excited about that. I don't know how my thing is at the moment is. So it's Vienna Connection, that's the bits there. Not much to show you because it's all hidden, but I kind of like the hidden stuff. My main beef is how to play this because I do want it to get played. Do I play one player? Which is could be quite interesting just to go down the narrative as a one-player route. But it does miss some of that interplay between all the characters. There's something about playing these games with a bunch of people and you getting all this disparate sort of elements and people are, I personally really enjoyed that whole conversation piece and a group of different minded people kind of coming at it and maybe leading you down rabbit holes because that's how that works. That I think adds more to the game. Although, I've played a bunch of the detective stuff with groups, so maybe try one of these as a solo effort might be interesting. I might give it a go for the first mission at the very least, just to see how it plays out, get the feel for the story and all that, and maybe we'll fall back because I can. Micro Macro, I picked this up. It's been nominated for the Spiel des Jahres, or the Kennerspiel actually, I think it was. It's a fairly straightforward game of you trying to find stuff on a big map. Essentially, you're solving crimes, but you solve them by essentially looking at the big map that's supplied by the game. And it's this big map. So this huge, eye-wateringly giant map of this city. What you do is you get a magnifier, and then you get various cases, which you have to put all these into envelopes at the start. There's 2 decks of cards in there, and loads of these little envelopes, which are tucked into the map, because I was originally like, well, where's the envelopes? And then they fell out. You tuck the cards related to the case in here, and each one of them will tell you to find something on this map, and then you could use the magnifier or glasses, and you sit for a great deal of time looking at the map, trying to find the thing, and it leads you to the next case, as far as I know. I've kind of skimmed over the rules. I thought it was something rather cool that the missus will go for. I throw this up the map on the floor, I'm going to pick it back up because I'm going to need that in a minute. But yeah, I thought it was something the missus would go for because she's not a big board gamer. But as we covered before, she likes just simple stuff. Doesn't want to be sort of torrent of rules explanation. Makes her switch off. So yes, there's that. We'll give that a pop as well. And there was... So there you go. There's that. That's what we played and all the other stuff and things. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Who Dares Rolls. I have been Mike B. This has been another rambling array of stuff. Hopefully, once I get a few more games in, I can start actually knocking out some reviews, which would be kind of cool. But for the minute, that's us done. Have a great week. I've most certainly forgotten some stuff. We'll see what happens. But have a great week. Catch up soon. Until then, cheers. Thanks for tuning in, and goodbye.